What does the month of November 2025 hold for us, our future, and the future of our amazing planet? Well, friends, hold on tight. The energies flowing in throughout November are going to make November the most intense month of 2025. We have the magic of the master number 11 ruling over the month of November, bringing with it this whole new level of ascension, tapping deep into our intuition and our connections to our ancestors and the divine source. And at the same time, it's going to be a month that's going to be jam-packed with events. Major outages, heightened earthquake activity, cyber attacks, sudden conflict, and the rise of new leaders and higher vibrations. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you, friends, starting with the numerology, the astrological transits, and how this is going to affect us and how you can flow through this month with ease and joy, along with very specific visions and predictions for November and beyond. So this is my November 2025 forecast and predictions. The master number 11 brings with it this whole electric vibration of insight, spiritual downloads, an increase in your dreams, perhaps even prophetic dreams, and this whole illumination process that's going to happen for us throughout the month. So emotions are going to run high, friends. No doubt about it. Emotions are going to run high. But remember, it's about emotional healing and opening up to those emotions. And that's where the healing really, truly begins. Speaking of which, when it comes to the world reflection of Venus entering Scorpio, when it comes to the collective, there's going to be a lot of scandals that are going to break out. A lot of scandals when it comes to politics. We're going to see scandals with finance, and even in the world of celebrities in Hollywood. Uranus is the planet of sudden changes, and it's returning back into the sign of Taurus, which is going to shake up systems big time. It's going to shake up systems. It's going to shake up systems when it comes to money, especially money or the economy. When it comes to land and potential land grabs, we know how they work out. We talk about that often. I would tell you to expect a lot of political resignations, even corporate resignations. Leaders stepping out of power, maybe even being taken out. This could be a big month where we see, assassinations taking place. We're going to see a lot of big leaks coming out of corporations, truths. November's going to go down in history books as far as the amount of outages that we see, and even cyber attacks happening all across the globe. We're going to see major outages once again with the emergency system, like 911 here in the United States. Again, I was in the distance as if I was watching from in the airport out the window. And there was smoke and fire around the plane, and I saw people fleeing from the plane. And I just felt like November 9th felt like a very strong day to me. And of course, the 11th, the strongest of all, mainly because we have that 1111 portal. Before we get started, a big happy birthday goes out to all our November Scorpios, along with our late November Sagittarians. Your birthday happens to be the most powerful day of the year, especially if you know how to utilize it. So if you have a birthday approaching, be sure to check out my video, The Most Powerful Day of the Year, so you can utilize the tips in that video to ensure that you make this the most powerful, most amazing year for you. That begins on the most powerful day, your birthday. I'll leave a link up above and down below in the description. And once again, a big happy birthday to all those celebrating a birthday in the month of November. Welcome to the month of November 2025, friends. Illumination in the silence. It's where the 11 universal month kicks in with the duality of the number 2, while we're still bathing in the 9 universal year. It is a time when the soul listens, the universe is going to speak ever so loudly. Because November 2025 is this month of deep inner light, a time for us to awaken to the sacred whispers of our intuition, to embrace spiritual truth and allow the divine timing to unfold with ease, with joy, and with grace. The master number 11 brings with it this whole electric vibration of insight, spiritual downloads, an increase in your dreams, perhaps even prophetic dreams, and this whole illumination process that's going to happen for us throughout the month. It's a portal month, friends. It's a portal month where veils thin between our world and the spirit world. We see these synchronicities that begin to increase, and this whole soul-led visions begin to emerge. Now, beneath the Master 11 is the foundation, of course, of the 2 vibration. The 2 vibration energy is a gentle energy. It's a patient energy. It's all about peace-seeking, and these vibrations together are going to ask us to really not just see the light, but to actually become the vessel for the light and allow that light to flow through you and all around you. Flowing within the final chapters of the 9 universal year that we're in, this month is also going to continue this whole collective process of karmic release and this whole period of emotional healing. So emotions are going to run high, friends. No doubt about it. Emotions are going to run high. But remember, it's about emotional healing and opening up to those emotions. And that's where the healing really truly begins. This is a sense of culmination that's happening in the air. Not the dramatic time. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but more of the quiet type. And this can reflect on your relationships and different chapters of your life, different roles of your life. And you may feel kind of torn between maybe holding space for others, but bringing in your own light or birthing your own light. Remember, be the vessel. Let the light flow through you, friends. Let it flow through you. And this is this whole spiritual dance that's happening between the 11 vibration, and the 2. It's a balancing that happens. It's this whole balancing service to our soul. Brings in compassion with clarity and a connection to this inner truth. So that's another thing we'll see this month. Lots of truths being revealed. Whether it's your own inner truths that are happening around you and your relationships and what have you. And even more so when it comes to the world, because globally, this month is going to bring world events centered around all kinds of different things. But some of those things are positive, like peace negotiations, truth-telling. So this could be a big month where we see lots of truth-tellers and whistleblowers stepping forward. We'll see spiritual and even humanitarian movements taking place, which we're seeing right now with Jamaica, right? Humanitarian efforts going over to them. And all these unexpected moments that happen, that it's like grace coming out of this conflict that's happening in the world. And the world may feel a little more tender, a little more emotionally charged decisions that are being made behind closed doors. Now, remember, with emotions comes sometimes chaos for those that can't control their emotions. I would tell you to watch for these leaders that are going to be stepping into roles that require more integrity, more vision, a higher vibration, as we say, or those leaders that fall out. This is a big month where we continue to see leaders fall out of place that aren't embodying these good traits and these higher vibrations that we really need. And the people are going to be watching. This month, people are going to be watching the world events with this whole sense of heightened awareness, which is a wonderful thing. That's the intuition, especially if you meditate and you work on this. It can be a really powerful month. It will be powerful, but you can make it the most powerful by meditating and grounding your energy. November is going to invite us to kind of slow down a little bit. Remember, it's Mercury retrograde. Delay. It'll slow you down whether you want it to or not. It's also telling us to listen more deeply and choose, our soul and our heart energy over ego. It's a month where we should not be rushing into things or forcing things to happen. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Instead, let your spiritual insight, let your intuition, your inner insight guide you in this path this month. I'd recommend that you light a candle. Light a candle with the intention of what it is you want to let go of. And hold another, candle for an intention for things that you want to birth, that you want to bring to life, things you want to manifest. You're being prepared this month to cross this major, all of us are being prepared this month to cross this major threshold, not into what was, but what could be. So if you allow yourself to become a vessel for the light and the divine purpose, stay grounded, focus on meditation as well. Remember, the world's changing. And you are a part of this world. We are all part of this world. And so is our light. And the light's asking us to allow that vessel to shine upon the earth, to bring us to this whole amazing new level of ascension and really incorporating that 11 vibration into our lives throughout the whole month of November. What's really important to follow when it comes to numerology in the month is the do's and don'ts, the things we really need to focus on doing throughout these vibrations of the 11 and the 2 vibration. And then the opposite of that, the things we should not be doing. Starting with first, of course, and foremost, the do's. And the first big do is listening to your intuition. I can't stress that enough, but even more so this month more than ever. This is a highly psychic month, friends. Highly psychic. I mean, paranormal stuff, all kinds of amazing stuff. So listen to your intuition. This highly psychic month is also going to bring in dreams, stronger gut feelings, these synchronicities that aren't coincidence, because there are no coincidences. And there's going to be signs all around you that are going to speak louder than usual. So pay attention to those signs. And again, make time for meditation. Do a little bit of journaling. Journaling is the word I'm looking for. Sit back and listen to your own inner guidance. It's going to guide you through this month. Another important do is to practice compassionate communication. Remember, the 2 vibration calls for diplomacy. It calls for this whole duality and the vibrations working together like the 2 pillars of the 1 and the 1. So this is all about empathy. So speak from your heart, but also listen from your soul. Whether it's personal relationships, whether it's professional conversations, harmony is going to be created through understanding and not jumping to judgments. Follow this tip and you'll flow through this month with ease and joy. Another important do, which is always important in my opinion, but even more important in November, is to make some peace with the past. Remember, we're still bathing in that 9 universal year. This is the 11 month / the 2 month, which is ideal for releasing old grudges, unresolved relationships, regrets that you may have revolved around anything really, especially relationships. Have no regrets. Make peace with it. Forgive. Close the energetic doors so that you can walk through new doors, and new doors that are lit up like never before. Another important do is to embrace spiritual or creative practices. Remember, the 11 vibration is like the spiritual illuminator. So engage in activities that are going to elevate your vibration. Whether it's maybe doing some sacred art, do what I did on the equinox. I made my own drum, frame drum. Do some prayer, write some music or play some music's a good thing. Writing's really good. And getting outside and connecting with nature. Following these tips and these practices are going to ground you in your purpose throughout the month. Another important do is to support others emotionally. Remember, it's going to be emotions are going to be running. And people need support when it comes to emotions. This is a month that's all about sacred service, friends. So reach out to your friends. Reach out to your family, clients, community members that may happen to be in need in some way or another. Hold some space for them. Hold some space, offer some kindness. Remember, your presence alone can bring so much healing to people into their lives. Now the things that you definitely do not want to do in the month of November. Starting with, do not rush into decisions, friends. Not only does the 2 vibration thrive in patience, but we have Mercury retrograde. You don't want to rush into things. The more you try to force things this month, the more resistance that you're going to meet. So let clarity come from just a little simple stillness. Trust in the divine timing. And another important do not avoid emotional manipulation. Remember, both the 2 and the 11 are emotionally sensitive energies. Then we have that Mercury retrograde, which also makes people emotionally sensitive, especially when it's in the signs of Scorpio throughout the month. Emotions, big time, friends. Don't hold them in. Be mindful not to guilt people or pressure people or manipulate people. And watch for others that might be doing that same thing towards you. Honor boundaries. This is a perfect month to honor your boundaries and do so with grace. Another important don't suppress your own emotions. Really important. Remember, emotions, in accordance to Louise Hay and You Can Heal Your Life, are connected to our illnesses and diseases are connected to deep-rooted emotional issues. When we get to the root of the emotional cause, we can begin to bring healing to ourselves. So you definitely don't want to suppress your emotions this month. This is not the month to pretend everything's just fine and hunky-dory. Emotional authenticity is literally the key here, friends. Literally the key. Let yourself feel, let yourself express, let yourself release, but also be mindful and be compassionate at the same time. Another important is avoiding overexposure to negative energies and negative people. You're going to be highly sensitive this month. This is a highly, again, psychic, intuitive, sensitive month. And in turn, too much time around chaotic environments, doom scrolling, or toxic conversations are going to totally drain your energy. Protect your energy, friends. Protect your energy because it's sacred, as are you. I have a meditation on my YouTube channel called Protecting Your Energy. Perfect month to learn to do that. Stay out of chaotic situations. Because we're probably going to see peaceful protests go sour, and you don't want to be in those environments because you may go sour. Another important do not is don't say yes to just keep the peace with people. Don't say yes to everything. The two energy can fall people into this energy of people pleasing. Don't do that. Use your voice, friends. Speak your truth. Speak your truth and do it with love. Do it with compassion. Do it with compromise. Remember your values and your intuition. Use your values and your intuition to avoid any, discomfort when it comes to this. Don't fall into people pleasing. Speak your mind, speak your heart, speak your truth. And speak your emotions and your feelings more than anything. Because the other thing that happens when we start to come out of Mercury retrogrades, which is the end of the month into early December, people end up with a lot of health stuff. And it could be just an ailment, pulling out your back or having a toothache or what have you. And hospitals, doctors, probably dentists, and probably even therapists get extremely busy as we come out of Mercury retrogrades. It never fails. Ask anybody in the medical community at the end of this month if they're overwhelmed, and they will tell you yes. So take care of those emotions. Keep them in check, friends. And you'll flow through this month with ease and joy. Now let us peer to the skies and the stars to see the astrological transits and how they're going to affect us personally and on the global stage as well. Friends, November 2025 is one of the most pivotal spiritual months of the decade, perhaps in maybe several decades. We have Mars in Sagittarius, Mercury retrograding through the fire of truth. We have Scorpio new moon. We have Saturn finally moving direct in Pisces. The cosmos is going to call us into this integration, this whole maturity, this whole amazing divine awakening that's happening. Remember that master number 11 vibration fused with that sensitivity of the 2 vibration, which is balance, intuition, compassion. It's going to create this month where we're going to have these massive realizations. It's where truth and empathy kind of coexist with each other. Again, we're in that 9 universal year, which is going to ensure that these realizations mark this final karmic release before the global renewal that we're going to step into in 2026 when we step into the 1 universal year. So I would expect and tell you to expect disclosure, a whole bunch of reform, this deep emotional cleansing that's happening both in your own life and across the global stage. This is where secrets become, not so secret anymore. Secrets come to the surface. There's huge power shifts that happen. And this is a time where people's faith will also be tested. But also, it's when spiritual leadership starts to come in and rise up from the ashes. So that's a good thing. So there are many things to look forward to. It all kicks off on November 4th when we have Mars entering Sagittarius, reigniting the flame of purpose. Because Mars entering into Sagittarius is going to expand our drive when it comes to truth, freedom, and moral clarity. This transit's infusing the world with this bold, idealistic energy, inspiring visionaries and truth seekers to step forward, to step out of the shadows and to act courageously. It's an amazing vibration and energy in transit coming in. When it comes to world events, we could see a lot of political reform movements taking place. A whole lot of spiritual awakenings start to kick off, which I believe will start kicking off right away as soon as we step into November on the 1st. But this is just going to enhance these spiritual awakenings. And then we have this just-driven crusades that are going to begin to just intensify. Big crusades. So I would tell you to expect louder conversations around the globe when it comes to education, especially censorship, immigration, and even the laws that they're trying to pass that aren't so good for us. And we'll even see this when it comes to religion as well. A good way to flow through this energy on the 4th is to seek some wisdom. Don't seek conflict. Act from principle, friends, not from pride, and align your will with your higher truth, and it'll make you flow through with ease and joy. On November 5th, we get to bark at the moon because that's the full moon in Taurus, which is going to bring in this whole energy of stability, security, and this whole desire to reconnect. This is a very grounding full moon. Remember, Taurus is an earth sign. And earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, like to be connected and grounded. Not all over the place. Like to get out and connect with nature. The full moon on the 5th would be a great time to take a walk through the forest or through the woods or what have you. Because this energy is going to bring in this whole emotional release. Remember, full moons are about releasing, about letting go. That's why we'll see likely big earthquakes around that time period. A couple days before, a couple days after, usually 3 days before, 3 days after. So we would say from the 2nd of November till around the 8th or 9th of November, that window of time. Especially, again, even with the emotional releases that come up. And you're going to also have this whole financial awareness that comes into play, which should be interesting for the collective when it comes to the economy and how things are going with the economy and people being able to start seeing what's really happening more clearly. It's going to call the whole collective to balance out our spiritual values. And it's really, really a good full moon, friends, good full moon. On the world stage, again, earthquakes. I would say economic markets, food supplies, and environmental matters are going to reach this climax right around this time period, which is going to be really interesting because we have the whole thing happening here in the United States with SNAP, which I feel like will go into place, but may take a few days. Remember, we're in that pre-shadow Mercury retrograde, which causes delays, and we go direct on the 9th, so that's going to get even more intense. So expect that to happen. Again, economic markets, food supplies, and environmental matters reaching this whole big climax. The Taurus energy highlights the Earth, Mother Earth, and Mother Earth's voice. So again, I would tell you to expect major news around the climate, around agriculture, the land itself, and anything beneath the land, whether it be tunnels, cracks in the earth from earthquakes. She's definitely going to be awakening to a whole new level come that full moon. Now, to flow through it, take some time to simplify things. Reconnect with your body and reconnect with nature and let gratitude root you in these grounding exercises. Do some grounding meditation. It will really help you flow through this full moon with ease and joy. On November 6th, we have Venus entering Scorpio. It's all about deep love and continue that deep healing energy that we're in. Because Venus is diving into the emotional ocean of Scorpio. Scorpios can be temperamental, just saying. So this is going to awaken intensity when it comes to love, when it comes to your finances, even when it comes to your self-worth. That's another thing that water signs often focus on. It's a magnetic energy that's coming in. It's very transformative energy that's going to bring with it a lot of truth to the surface. There we go with truth reveals again. Expect it to be kind of exciting when it comes to truth reveals. Speaking of which, when it comes to the world reflection of Venus entering Scorpio, when it comes to the collective, there's going to be a lot of scandals that are going to break out. A lot of scandals when it comes to politics. We're going to see scandals with finance and even in the world of celebrities in Hollywood. Bernie Madoff comes to my mind. Remember Bernie Madoff with a whole bunch of people's money? Something like that pops in my mind. So I would imagine we're going to see something in the world of finances with that, perhaps even an arrest, even around crypto or anything financial markets. So expect that kicking in November 6th and beyond, and throughout November, this whole energy of scandals. Political scandals, financial scandals, celebrity scandals. It's going to be basically forcing us to do this whole reevaluation when it comes to values and power dynamics. It's going to be interesting. Everybody loves a good scandal now, don't they? As long as they're not involved in it. Now, how to flow through this? Be transparent when it comes to your love life, when it comes to your business life. Allow vulnerability to actually strengthen you, not weaken you. To strengthen your connections, to not weaken them. And this alignment can bring you amazing new leaps forward. On November 7th, we have Uranus entering the sign of Taurus. There we go with that grounding energy of Taurus once again. It's an earthly revolution that's happening, friends, an earthly revolution. This is a major global turning point when we get to the 7th of November. Uranus is the planet of sudden changes, and it's returning back into the sign of Taurus, which is going to shake up systems big time. It's going to shake up systems. It's going to shake up systems when it comes to money, especially money or the economy. When it comes to land and potential land grabs, we know how they work out. We talk about that often. Even the realms of energy, power, and even nature. The other thing that pops in my mind is when it comes to raw minerals and things. So some kind of shakeups to those systems. So that'll be interesting to see. And on the global scale, again, there's going to be sudden economic shifts that take place. Starting on the 7th and following through days after. And what happens 2 days after, we go direct into that Mercury retrograde, which I'll tell you about in a moment. So sudden economic shifts, tech disruptions when it comes to agriculture or finance. You can see money access machines going down, ATMs going down, things like that. And possibly, of course, a lot of earth events, earthquakes, magnetic anomalies, sun flares, and even volcanic eruptions. All mark off this week, November 7th. It's going to literally mirror the energy of 1934. If we go back to that time period, which I'll talk about on my next Tuesday show, 1934 or even the year 2019. Innovation rising from instability. That energy is coming in on the 7th. How can you flow through it? Adapt a little bit. Embrace the unconventional, as they say. And invest in sustainability, simplicity, and future-focused values. This will help you flow through and take advantage of this alignment on November 7th. On November 9th, we step into what people consider to be the wretched Mercury retrograde, this time in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the geniuses of the zodiac. So this whole theme is going to be rethinking truth, because Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is going to challenge the narratives. It's going to challenge what you believe in, friends. Big time. It's going to expose so much misinformation. Again, political spins, dogmatic thinkers. It's going to be really, really interesting. And it's going to go out with a bang. It's the third and last Mercury retrograde and energy shift of the year. And that energy shift actually kicks in on the 5th on the full moon. So by the time we get to the 9th, it's going to be really intense. So on the world stage, expect a lot of controversies to arise. Controversy around education, around the media, around religion and religious structures. We're going to see political leaders that are going to face finally some accountability for their deception or their idealistic overreach that they do. So there's lots of them that need to take that. A lot of that needs to happen. I think you'd agree. And this goes through for the whole month all the way up to the 29th. And really, the post-shadow takes us into December 17th. So we're in it. We're in it big time, friends. We're just stepping into the deep waters. So to help you flow through this, make sure that you listen a lot more than you speak. People love to twist things out of whack during retrograde. You can text somebody something, and they'll totally misinterpret what you say. So watch what you say. Do some fact-checking, too, because you might end up having to, swallow your pride a little bit. And let your beliefs evolve during this time instead of defending your outdated beliefs or your outdated ideals. Remember, it's also a shedding process, a time to let go of. And being willing to do so will make this so much easier for you. On November 11th, the 1111 portal, extremely powerful time, most powerful time in at least a decade. I've been doing a special meditation for that. So be sure to keep an eye out for this meditation I put out. This is also November 11th when Jupiter retrograde begins in the sign of Cancer, which is all about emotional wisdom and this whole family karma energy flowing in. Remember, Jupiter retrograde brings in introspection about your home, your ancestry, and it's all about your emotional growth as well. This energy is going to encourage you to nurture yourself and nurture things around you, and this whole energy of protection, both personally, and we're going to see this on the global stage as well. Another thing we'll see when it comes to world events is this big focus is going to turn towards humanitarian crises, which will be interesting. We'll probably see more food shortages or things like, for example, with Gaza. I would imagine that there's going to be some type of major earthquake or event that's going to take place that will also bring in this humanitarian crisis thing, not just on the 11/11, but weeks following that as well. Could also be around food security, which we're still seeing, and even with child welfare. And this is also a time where nations are going to start to revisit old policies. Old policies when it comes to family, healthcare, and things like that. And healthcare is definitely something in this country that needs to be revisited multiple times. So we'll see that begin to take place with this transit coming into place. Now, how to flow through it? Return to what really truly matters to you and to your heart and your soul. Protect your peace, protect your honor, and protect your emotional intelligence, because you are more emotionally intelligent than you may think you are. On November 18th, we have Mercury retrograde entering into the sign of Scorpio, which is all about unveiling hidden truths, friends. I like to enjoy these hidden truths coming to the surface. And that's what this Mercury is going to backtrack. It goes from Scorpio pre-shadow, which we started in, which we're in until November 8th. Then on the 9th, we go into Sag. And now on the 18th, we go back into Scorpio again. And this is when the veil is going to lift even further. This is when secrets are going to resurface. Psychological patterns are going to be exposed. And truth is going to become a weapon and medicine at the same time, because it is a healing process that we are in. Now, on the world stage, we're going to see more investigations being launched or investigations deepening. Hopefully, they'll do more deeper investigations on some of the events, like those, that island guy. Just leave it at that. I would tell you to expect a lot of political resignations, even corporate resignations, leaders stepping out of power, maybe even being taken out. This could be a big month where we see, assassinations taking place. We're going to see a lot of big leaks coming out of corporations, truths. And at the same time, we're going to see a lot of breakthroughs when it comes to crime, breakthroughs in the realm of science, and even breakthroughs when it comes to spirituality, the church, and even the occult, the hidden. So how to flow through this even easier? Remember, this is the time to release the fear of the truth, that is. Because like they say, well, what was that? Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. And that's so true for so many people. So release any fear that you may have of the truth. Like people, we talk about the things in the sky, the trails, and people just don't want to believe it because they're afraid of the truth. So release fear of the truth, friends. This is a soul surgery. It's uncomfortable, but it's profoundly cleansing and profoundly healing. Flow through it. On November 20th, we have the new moon in Scorpio, a theme of rebirth through the shadows and through rising up through the ashes, because this is a very mystical new moon that's happening. It's a mystical new moon of transformation and this whole other new heightened psychic clarity that comes into play. So it closes that long emotional cycle, which is going to be nice. Emotions will get much easier during that new moon, when that new moon kicks in, especially the emotions if we go back earlier in the year, if you remember, or even July and August, intense, right? So this is going to mark off a closure to that, finally. It's also going to mark off this whole spiritual rebirth of our collective soul. Interesting, amazing time for sure. Take advantage of that new moon. Now, I would tell you on the world stage to expect there to be some very, very symbolic endings, again, resignations, and even regime changes, which we're likely going to be seeing in Venezuela very soon. So regime changes. Xi Jinping pops in my mind, the leader of China, so I would think that there might even be something that happens around him. And I would say that resignations, regime changes, social systems that may begin to collapse. And remember, when they do, it's all to make room for the new. It's all about renewal. You can flow through this energy simply by performing some release rituals, being willing to release, set some intentions when it comes to rebirth, empowerment, and healing, and trust the void, friends. Remember, This is all good if you're willing to do the work on yourself and take the advice of these transits and of the numbers this month too, the 11, the 2, and the 9 universal year that we're still bathing in. On November 29th, Mercury direct in Scorpio. Hallelujah, the energies start to lift, friends. The truth emerges, power is restored, clarity returns after weeks of review. Hidden information comes to the light, and this is a moment of empowerment, friends. But only to those who face the shadow honestly through this cycle in early November. On the world stage, we can see things start to power back up again. Less delays, less problems in traffic and with travel and all that. We can see and will see major announcements taking place around this time and soon after. Major verdicts coming into play, or even resolutions that are going to happen around the globe. Politically, political clarity returns. So truth is going to win. Truth always wins. Truth wins, and of course not without some tensions in between. But this is a time where things will settle down. The energy will become much lighter. So take time to flow through this by communicating from your core truth. Let wisdom replace your fear and move forward with integrity, and know that energy has finally passed, the intense energy. And things begin to lighten up finally when we reach that point on November 29th. And the month kicks off on November 30th when Venus enters Sagittarius with this whole theme of expanding love beyond boundaries. Venus brings in this whole warm energy, friends. It's optimistic. It's all about spiritual adventure. So this is when love becomes a philosophy, art becomes activism, creativity becomes courage. It's a wonderful alignment and a wonderful way to kick off the month of November. On the world stage, this alignment's likely going to inspire new peace movements, this whole global unity projects that start to go into place. It's also where we'll see things around art popping out, like amazing things. It's also, a hopeful close to a very intense month for sure. So when we hit the end of the month, say yes to your new experiences. Share your love freely. Let inspiration fuel your new chapter. And get excited because we finally stepped out of the super intense month of November. Before we move on to my very specific visions and predictions for November and beyond, I want to welcome you back to the channel. Welcome you to the channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, spiritual medium, bringing you predictions, prophecy, truth, and great content. If you want predictions, prophecy, and truth, and great content, you want to vibe with our tribe, be sure to smash the subscribe, the bell, and all so you get notifications. Every Tuesday, I do Tea Time, where we talk about world events, how they affect or reflect on past predictions or prophecy, with new predictions each and every week, so keep an eye out for that. Also, please click that thumbs up love button. Helps the channel. It will help get more content like this onto your feed. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the tribe, baby. Down below in the description, you'll find all the links to my social media, including the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community of supporters who help make this free content possible for everybody else. And you can also join down below on the platform of YouTube as a monthly supporter and become a part of the tribe. And again, helping make this free content possible for everybody. I thank you all for your contributions and your support to the channel. I love you and thank you with infinite loving gratitude. Other than that, also down below, you'll find all the links to all my other social media and the free newsletter. Sign up for that so you get all this astrology and numerology in your inbox each and every month. Let us move on to my specific visions and predictions for November 2025. Hold on tight, friends. The November roller coaster ride's kicking off. And it's going to have us going at high speeds up and down mountainsides with many loops in between. And as I said earlier, it's a decades-long alignment, once again with the 11 master number vibration and the duality of the 2 vibration, topped off with lots of astrological sprinkles throughout. And it is my feeling that November, and probably perhaps the whole year, will go down as a month and a year that we'll never forget, both on personal levels, the collective, and on the global stage. So much is happening, and so much more is coming, not just in November, but now through the remainder of 2025. With us already bathing in Mercury's pre-shadow and heading into that direct retrograde on the 9th, November's going to go down in history books as far as the amount of outages that we see, and even cyber attacks happening all across the globe. We're going to see major outages once again with the emergency system, like 911 here in the United States. And even this strange glitch I feel happening with the emergency alert systems. Be interesting to see how that plays out. I see major outages with cellular providers, and in some countries, they will experience full internet outages. I feel some type of strange issues are going to arise around cell phone towers. Perhaps even some type of a attack on cell phone towers, whether they be an attack of the cyber nature or a physical attack. Physical attack feels more likely like the case to me. I also feel and I see a ton of website outages that occur in November, which would lead me to believe that hosting servers would be under some type of attacks, causing major outages for the servers and for all those websites that happen to reside on those servers. We saw a huge Amazon outage in October, and we're going to see more of that in November, with Amazon servers and websites itself going down once again. I feel hospitals and medical facilities are going to endure some type of cyber attacks and other issues, causing their systems to go down completely. And in some cases, they may remain down for several days. I see temporary outages when it comes to credit card companies, Visa and MasterCard systems, blocking folks from being able to pay for purchases, using those that are using those logo cards anyway. I also feel that there's going to be some type of an attack, a cyber-related one, I would say, that is targeting food corporations and manufacturers, causing some type of delay in the production or in the shipments of food. I also feel that there's outages that are going to hit delivery companies, such as, say, the post office, FedEx, even large trucking companies that deliver, again, food. Something with their computer systems that screws everything up. Now, some of this could be, of course, much of this could be likely influences of the Mercury retrograde. However, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like a lot of this is nefarious activity and sabotage that's going to be happening. And that it's going to, be up to us ourselves, really, to determine through our intuition the things that are probably going to be quite obvious anyway. Cyber attack or Mercury influence. I would tell you also to expect there to be many power outages, of course, across the globe. Some are going to be real random and unexplained, like no explanation behind it. I see outages caused from record-breaking storm systems, including a major snow or ice event, some point in late November. I feel this is somewhere north. I'm not sure if it's North America. It just felt north. I'm not sure where. And I also see problems with outages in the United Kingdom, France. I see a power grid issue for the Ukraine and Russia both, and outages that happen across Asia. Unfortunately, for those traveling, especially again in the month of November, it's going to bring in a month of travel nightmares and headaches. So if you're traveling, friends, I tell you now, expect there to be delays. Expect there to be delays, especially when we get to the middle of the month. The middle month feels really powerful to me for whatever reason. So the mid-month, but really throughout the whole month of November. And if you do happen to encounter any delays, or you do not happen to follow any delays, and you get through good and clear, then maybe you might want to stop and sing hallelujah, baby, and be grateful, because it's an intense retrograde. At the same time, I also feel that there's going to be cyber attacks targeting online shopping and banks. So beware, friends. And remember, this would be a great month to make sure that you always have a little bit of cash on hand, just in case. I feel there's something happening around a satellite. Perhaps the duality of two satellites, being we are in that 11 and the 2 vibration. I feel like there's some type of a major outage or a system that's taken offline due to a satellite issue. And I cannot help but to feel that there's some type of an attack that's happening on a satellite, likely an act of war of some sort, perhaps maybe connected to Ukraine and Russia, or maybe even connected between Israel and Iran. We'll just have to wait and see. Late November is perhaps the most traveled time of the year, at least here in the United States it is. I don't know about your country. Let us know in the comments below. Regardless, roads are definitely going to be jammed, more jammed than usual, especially on weekend activities, the weekends this month for whatever reason. We're also going to see, unfortunately, more accidents and this whole accident-prone energy coming back into play. So be mindful, friends. Accident-prone doesn't just mean accidents on the road. It means falls, people falling, tripping, and having other different accidents, cutting their finger while they're chopping vegetables. So be very mindful this month, friends. Back to that accident-prone energy, and if you recall the last time, earlier this year, yeah, this one's going to be even more intense. So also, if you're driving, do you know the 3 C's of driving? I happened to learn this in high school when I took driver's ed. The 3 C's of driving: caution, courtesy, and common sense. Take those 3 C's into play when you're out driving on the roads, and it'll be a safer drive for you when we're flowing through the month of November in this intense energy. Along with more fender benders on the road, there's also going to be a lot of road closures that you're going to notice, and even some bridges that have to be closed for repairs or for danger. So be aware and stay on top of your route, because many of these closures, they're going to be sudden. They're going to be unannounced closures because they're so sudden, and most will be temporary. Don't worry about that. But remember, again, throughout November, pay attention. You're going to see way more road closures, detours, a lot more detours being put into place, and accidents that cause detours. So be mindful, and be mindful of your route, and expect there to be sudden shifts in the direction you're going due to, again, detours or sudden road closures or bridge closures as well. Speaking of bridges, I see some sort of a bridge incident taking place, perhaps 2 different ones actually. I had a vision, and in this vision, the bridge I saw off in a distance, and it appeared that there was some smoke close to the very center of the bridge. I saw on both sides from the distance. Again, I'm looking at this. I see rescue lights and law enforcement lights flashing on both sides of this river and bridge. I saw in this vision suddenly the Coast Guard come rushing in, like, they were a bit late. I'm not sure if something actually hit the bridge, maybe. Say perhaps a small plane, or perhaps something explodes on the bridge. I don't even know where I was. If I were to guess, I'd say I was in the United States. But that's just a guess. Something with this bridge looked like a big deal. And I was watching from a distance. So being I was watching from a distance, it would make me think that you couldn't get close. That they quartered off a large amount of the area. So hopefully it doesn't come into fruition. But that vision was very, very clear to me. The other bridge vision that I have is that I see this bridge in a vision, a fairly large bridge. It looked like a long bridge too. So it was large and long. So it wasn't no little bridge. And somehow or another, this bridge just collapsed into the waters below. And I'm not clear what the cause of this was, or where exactly this may be taking place on the planet. But I felt maybe perhaps connected to an earthquake. I mean, the only other thing, what would cause a bridge to just suddenly collapse like that? And in the vision, it was daylight. I could see it. So there's going to end up being video of this that's going to be released. Because a lot of times when I see things in visions, it ends up being, in a video or something. So we'll have to see. Now, again, if I were to guess, I'd say maybe somewhere in Asia. Definitely doesn't feel like United States to me, or North America. So again, we'll have to wait and see and hope that it doesn't come into fruition. Speaking of earthquakes and weather systems, November, friends, is not going to disappoint when it comes to Mother Earth flexing her muscles and putting on amazing light shows. I feel that November is going to be a month where we see the most significant sized earthquakes hitting around the globe. Even more, and even moving into December, we're going to see this. And recently I had a vision that I shared with you all. I believe it was during my Black Mirror predictions, where I saw this massive volcanic eruption. And this was so large that it literally blocked out the sun for many of the people nearby, and maybe even far off places too. I saw people shoveling the ash as if it was a snow blizzard with 5 to 6 feet of snow ash, just shoveling it, trying to get rid of it. So I believe this would be somewhere close towards maybe Indonesia. I also feel that there's going to be an eruption that takes place in Japan, and that's going to be a sign of something significant, a significant sized earthquake hitting Japan soon after. And I feel that this would be close to perhaps the northwestern coast of Japan, wherever that may fall. I didn't look at the map, I just felt northwestern coast of Japan for the earthquake aspect. Not sure about the volcano. The volcano just felt like a sign more than anything. Not necessarily something huge, but definitely a sign of something that's going to come. Then in this same vision, I had this vision where I heard tsunami sirens. But I didn't see any water, and I didn't see no vision of water or tsunami waves, but I did hear tsunami sirens. So I would imagine that they're going to be unleashed with this earthquake. This could also be in this particular vision and feeling that it's off the coast. That's why the tsunami warnings are going off. There we go. So we'll have to see how that plays out, and hopefully it don't play out. Water is still a very huge influence with the current transits and numbers and even the coming transits. So tsunamis coming from heightened earthquake activity in November is very plausible. And there were so many predictions going back about a large, I saw it in visions going back years ago, of a large rift basically crack beneath the Pacific Ocean, causing a major earthquake and tsunamis for Japan. Some of the predictions said July. Well, we can't put dates on everything, friends. We know that. We can't put dates and sometimes not even timelines. However, I would not rule out the month of November for that coming into play. There's just too many vibrations, too many transits that would all influence a big earthquake to occur beneath the sea, causing major tsunamis. So again, let's hope not. But again, it's a very plausible time for such an event to take place. Yellowstone National Park comes to mind, and I feel that when it came to mind earlier, I felt a slight shaking beneath my feet, followed by hearing this, in this distance, I heard this loud boom, and it rung out like the sound of a double-barrel shotgun. It's the only way I could explain how this boom rung out. And I felt another shaking, more like a vibration beneath my feet after I heard the boom. Then I heard animals running in a distance, but I didn't actually feel this sense of panic, which was weird, because usually I would feel that in a vision and in an experience like that. I just felt more like a sense of wanting to get away, to avoid something, not in a panicking way, but just to avoid it. So therefore, I would say there's going to be some type of a minor, not major, but a minor eruption of sorts. This small blow, that's probably the sound of the gunfire I heard, what sounded like a boom, like a double-barrel shotgun. So I would say that boom's going to be some type of a minor eruption or something blowing at Yellowstone National Park. And then I felt that there's going to be this swarm of smaller earthquakes that happen in between and before and after. And I feel like at the largest, maybe a 6.0 earthquake. I see parts of the park being cut off, and people being told to leave. So people are leaving. I feel like this is more symbolic than anything. I don't feel nothing to worry about with it other than just the event taking place, and it feels a bit rare. I'm not saying this is all happening in November, but it's definitely closing in really soon in November again with all the alignments, the heightened earthquake activity and such. It's very likely to occur in the month of November. I feel that the event that's coming to Yellowstone, which again may not necessarily be in November, is actually going to be a sign of something much larger, a much larger eruption, but more far in the distance, it felt to me. So, but still felt connected to North America. So perhaps Alaska, maybe Washington State. And I can go deeper into this and into the Earth's activity. I can go on and on for the next hour about this. But I'm going to make a separate full November prediction video next week. Otherwise, again, I'd be here for a long while. And I try to keep this as short, but there's so much to talk about. So keep an eye out for that video sometime next week. The sky is a huge one when it comes to the month of November, and the 11 vibration does bring in these angelic energies and these multi-dimensional shifts that take place. So in turn, it's kind of exciting because it's going to allow us to see things that we normally wouldn't see. The 11 vibration is all about tapping deeper into our intuition, and it brings with it this whole new level of ascension. And this month is also accompanied by the solar maximum, according to my spirit guides, and major incoming light codes that are meant to shift the earth and humanity. It's exciting. So therefore, many of us are going to be able to see things, especially by mid-month, that we wouldn't normally see. This includes connections to spirits, of course, ancestors, ancestral connections, increased ghosts and paranormal activities. This is a very powerful time, friends, to dedicate yourself to some meditation, to pay closer attention to our skies. Really, really important time to do all that. Therefore, many of us are going to be able to see things by the mid-month that we wouldn't normally see. This includes connections to spirits, of course, ancestral and ancestor connections, increased ghost and paranormal activity. Friends, this is a very powerful time to dedicate yourself to some meditation and at the same time pay close attention to our skies and to outer space, because the sky's the limit and signs will soon appear in the skies and in the heavens. Speaking of in the skies and in the heavens, folks have their eyes very closely on 3-Eye Atlas, and I would expect our eyes to turn in many other directions throughout the month, not just at 3-Eye Atlas. We're going to see more and more sightings of UFOs and UAPs, and even a potential of alien life exposure happening in the month of November. I would expect many sky viral videos to be coming to the surface. And of course, they'll accuse many of them of being AI, and some of them probably are AI, but a lot of them are not going to be. So a lot of viral videos of sky stuff. And that includes all kinds of sky stuff, even events with airplanes and so forth, which I'll talk about in a moment. But mainly what we're looking at is seeing things that weren't able to see before, and more of us being able to see them. Again, the UFOs, UAPs, and things related to that. Many videos coming to the surface, which will be really interesting to analyze those. And there's going to be a lot of talk amongst the people when it comes to things that are happening above our head. This is, unfortunately, also going to bring in what I mentioned earlier, the accident-prone energy. This accident-prone energy is going to have an effect when it comes to the skies and things that fly in the sky. Planes, helicopters, drones, and even incidents I see happening with birds and flocks of birds. For example, birds flying in the opposite direction. Or, once again, we see flocks of birds falling from the sky in many places. And even one airplane incident after another. Whether it's an incident of people arguing on the plane and getting booted off the plane. You'll see that with the emotions running wild this month. But also just other incidents where things are shut down, or other incidents with the planes. And safety measures. So I see that. So all of a sudden maintenance has to be done. Everybody's loaded on the plane and all of a sudden we have to do maintenance. So I see something happening around that. A lot of things happening around the skies. And I see something happening around 2 helicopters. And it appears to me that they collide. And I cannot help but for some reason to feel that this is perhaps either connected to the filming of a movie or something related to the military, like a military drill gone bad. Now, I also consider perhaps that I'm seeing both like 2 separate helicopter crashes. One involving a Hollywood filming movie, the other involving a military drill gone bad. So perhaps, again, that's the way it's going to play out. Time's going to tell. I also see an incident or an accident that occurs on a runway, and I had this vision more clearly of one plane. I didn't see multiple planes. I saw one plane, and again, I was in the distance as if I was watching from in the airport out the window. And there was smoke and fire around the plane, and I saw people fleeing from the plane, like running the opposite direction. And I can't, again, say that there's 2 planes involved. I don't know. I only see one very clearly. And I see it smoking, and I see people running from the direction of the plane. So I would imagine that everybody's safely off the plane as well if they're all running away from the plane. I have visions of these airports that are just jam-packed with disappointed, tired people. And I can only imagine that this is due to major cancellations and people getting stuck, especially during holiday travels as well. Now, I know this is happening in November, I have no doubt. But we may also even see this when we get to December, especially around the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, and those holidays. So remember that. But we're definitely seeing this in the month of November. People are going to get stuck during their travels. I also see some type of major power outage happening at an airport. And I feel that this begins kind of right around dusk because of what I saw in my vision. It wasn't quite dark out. And it felt to me like it was out much longer than people would want it to be out. So I'm not sure where this is. It felt to me like it was cyber attack related. And I feel like if I were to go to a specific area, I'd be somewhere in Europe where this outage happens at the airport. The 11 vibration of November is going to ascend folks into higher vibrations. In turn, many of these folks are going to step into these leadership roles. It felt to me like a sense of pushing our system itself into this higher vibration, as it need be. So look for many visionaries and even inventors and new creators to take to the stage. November is going to offer up this amazing opportunity to rise up and take our power back. At the same time, be aware of the false ones, the false prophets, the fake gurus, the scammers, because they're going to be coming out of the woodworks in the coming months. So beware. When it comes to the economy, November is going to be literally like a mountain bike ride through the mountains. Lots of ups and downs, friends. Lots of ups and downs. And all I feel is buy on the dips. Buy on the dip, dip. That's what the rich people do. Buy on the dips when you can. Because November can actually literally be a great month to make money if you actually know how to play the game. Not many people, not everybody knows how to play the game. But you can also, at the same time, if you don't know how to play the game, you can lose a lot of money as well. So be very mindful and cautious if you're playing with any of the markets. I feel that real estate's going to rise, as well as stocks and cryptos revolved around artificial intelligence. Silver and gold, as I stated in the past, is going to take a nice dip, which it's already doing. It's going to hold still for a little while, and then it's going to rise back up again. Sorry, I don't have a date for you folks, because someone keeps asking in the chat constantly. I don't have dates. Just go by my feelings. My feelings and intuition are usually always right on. You should follow your intuition as well. Now, I do have some dates for you. Times to watch for the rising and falls. And this is just based on the numerology aspect. So dates to look for rises and even falls. It's the rise first, the fall second. So the 8th and the 9th, the 17th and 18th of November, and the 26th and 27th of November. Times to watch the markets closely. Being that Mercury retrograde rules over the whole month of November pretty much, we have this final tsunami wave of energy and this energy shift hitting our shorelines beginning on November 5th. This is going to be accompanied, friends, by so many miscommunications. People twist your words. They take things totally the wrong way. Emotions rise to extreme levels. And in turn, this can bring on this sudden conflict. This is when peaceful protests can literally go very, very sour. This is a time where we may see sudden military invasions take place, new conflicts breaking out. And hopefully the 9 vibration of 2025 will keep these conflicts that arise very short-termed. But I feel that something more breaking is happening in the Middle East, something breaking out in the Middle East. And I also see some type of what feels to me like a record-breaking amount of drones in some type of a drone attack. Don't know where this is, but it just felt like a big deal. Not sure where. We'll have to wait and see. I feel we are also going to see a lot of strange explosions in November and even moving into December. We have that fire energy going into place really strong right now. So we're going to see a lot of explosions, a lot of fires, and even wildfires. Australia comes to mind and out of nowhere. I also feel that the heat is definitely on in November, which is going to bring this record warm temperatures to many areas, especially in the south, while the opposite is going to be happening in the northern regions, where they begin to start to receive ice and snow. With heat comes fire too, remember, friends. So explosions. So be careful and mindful if you're playing with the grill or propane or anything like that. With heat comes fire. Explosions and even a well-orchestrated missile attack, because missiles explode. Very well orchestrated. That could be back to the drone vision I just had a little bit ago that I shared with you. Again, we'll have to wait and see. And again, I could go on and on and on. And I will in a separate video for November predictions, so keep an eye out for that. Again, I could go on and on and on, and I will in a separate video for November predictions next week. So keep an eye out for that, and always tune into Tuesday, because the first Tuesday we'll have a lot more to talk about as well. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, hit all, so that you get notifications. Remember, you can catch me every Tuesday, and keep an eye out for the next November prediction video next week. Some important dates to share with you that feel very strong to me for the month of November starts with the date, November 9th. The 9th, which kind of happens to be a 9/11 day if we think about it. The 9th day, the 11th month, 9/11. That's not why I got that. I just felt like November 9th felt like a very strong day to me. And of course, the 11th, the strongest of all, mainly because we have that 11/11 portal. It's a great day for ascension, and ascension. I'm going to put out an ascension meditation. Keep an eye out for that. You want to take advantage of it on the 11th. You want to walk through that portal. You want to walk through those towers. It's going to be powerful. So look for some big things happening around the 11th. And then also the 3rd jumped out at me. The 3rd of November. The 3rd of November. The 22nd, which is also a master number day, and 11/22 is when they took out JFK, right? And then I also feel something around the 28th of the month. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. And until the next time, friends, I'm going to leave you with that. Remember to hit that thumbs up love button so that you can help the channel. Thank you to all the members and to all those that support this channel for your contributions. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. And until the next time, friends, remember to enjoy this month. Celebrate life. Celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And most importantly, remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly. Be that vessel of light in the month of November. Have a beautiful rest of your day as well. Namaste and much love, friends.